Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope y'all all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And after a hectic couple of weeks, stage 2 of the CDL 2021 begins later today. Going to be talking about the schedule and some match predictions at the end of the video. But before we get into that, certainly a lot to discuss once again. Mainly among which the CDL backtracking seemingly off their comms video they released last night after a significant amount of backlash on Twitter and also behind the scenes. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you were new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Let's get into things then. So this, interestingly, from Hex's vlog yesterday, the Chrome points out here on Twitter, with Dashy signing some signatures, some autographs, and where will these be used on? Not exactly sure. Hex mentions in this video they're not actually being used for weapon skins. So Chrone's kind of talking about, is this potentially CDL cards they're trying to implement? Who really knows? Maybe it could be for some sort of merchandise drop for, CDL related. I don't really know, or maybe for OpTic themselves. But yeah, certainly this is something which is pretty interesting to see. Usually we see stuff like this in advance of the World Championship. The last couple of years, I think they've done these like signatures for stickers for the World Championship, but having it this early potentially means the CDL's looking to do something, so certainly something to keep your eyes peeled on going forwards. Also thought this was very interesting. Aiden, who I don't know, he was leaking some announcement yesterday, obviously a Fortnite player in the past, now one of the best Warzone players in the world, joins the Subliners as effectively a content creator, right? But you've got to say that especially these last few months, we've seen a lot of content creators get signed who are effectively just Warzone players, right? And have been competing in some of these online Warzone tournaments. So there is a bit of a question mark, and I think even the CDL and Joanna Ferries and some people over at Activision have talked about the idea of having like a Warzone competitive league. Like not necessarily getting rid of the CDL or anything, but having some sort of Warzone competitive league, functioning alongside the CDL. And the fact that, some of the teams are going down this route. I mean, we've got 100 Thieves, for example, with Tommy and Rated over there. I'm sure there's other ones as well. And now Aiden joining the Subliners, technically, you got to wonder whether these teams are looking at a potential future where there is some sort of Warzone competitive scene going on in addition to the CDL. It's probably not going to be a bad thing for the league on the whole, and I just thought this was a pretty cool move to, bring to your guys' attention. Of course, the only risk is really that it takes attention away from the actual CDL, which is certainly something you wouldn't necessarily want to see, but interesting to see how that develops going forwards. So this, of course, we talked about yesterday, the access like never before, go inside the comms of the epic OpTic Chicago versus Atlanta FaZe match. A lot of you guys are asking in the comments, like, where can I see the full thing? And I went to their channel and they had since deleted it. So you guys might remember this from yesterday. And I think the teams were frustrated really for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there was the whole element of the strategies, right? So they were talking to some degree in these videos, not a significant amount. And I imagine whoever edited it thought it was kind of okay. But we certainly saw that they were talking for a time about, okay, Envoy likes to go on these flanks and they were doing certain things on certain maps. And certainly that kind of coach talk with their team, the strategy before a game even begins, that's probably not something you necessarily want to just be revealing to the public. Probably the other teams are going to be watching this and trying to glean something from how they construct their entire team. But there was also the whole trash talk side of things, and maybe that's where I think that the teams weren't particularly happy. Either the idea that they were doing a bit of trash talk, but at the end of the day, to me, like that was just kind of hyping up your team before a match. Like I don't think there was any like malice behind any of those words or anything. It was just getting your team in a good mindset. So from a fan perspective, I didn't really see too much of an issue with that side of things, but I'm sure the teams were certainly frustrated. And here we go. This is what the colleague tweeted out yesterday, or a couple of days ago now, and they also put it on their YouTube. They also put it on Facebook. And it's pretty interesting, right, given they let go of a few employees a couple of days ago, the fact that actually the Facebook version of this, to my understanding, hasn't yet been deleted. So maybe they're just not even bothering with Facebook anymore. But Scump says right here, no shot you'll posted this in a tweet which has now been deleted. And how is this post still up? Said Hitch, we talked about yesterday. Now it is gone, right? So the CDL backtracking, I imagine that they got a fair bit of backlash from these teams behind the scenes. Saying, look, this is not something we want to do. It very much echoes a scandal in the Counter-Strike community not too long ago of tournament organisers doing exactly this. So I do wonder whether we'll see something like this again. I'm sure the CDL want to do this, right? Like you can see this video was sponsored or like brought to you by Astro Gaming or whatever. So maybe they have some sort of deal with Astro so that they'll do these types of videos, like the Inside the Comms videos once a month or something along those lines, even though it was a month after the match finished. So after stage 1, they'll do like an Inside the Comms video with Astro Gaming. So for stage 2, maybe they have a contract which says, okay, we're going to be doing that with Astro every single stage for the entire season, which means they kind of keep having to do this. But will they tone it down somewhat? That's what I imagine will probably be happening. As you can see right here on their YouTube, it's no longer here. We've got the 2 days ago, the 14 hours ago, but nothing in between. So they deleted it off YouTube, deleted it off Twitter. Yeah, I'm sure the players were kind of frustrated about this behind the scenes. They were having some words, and will that happen again? That is an interesting question. From my perspective, it's probably perfectly fine if you just do it from the comms perspective. I didn't really have an issue with the trash talk and stuff because it seems relatively reasonable to me, and maybe the teams are frustrated about it, but at the end of the day, say if it's not revealing anything, then it's kind of pure entertainment. But, you know, there was definitely some grey areas in that video, which I can understand why it is now gone. So I wonder whether we'll see a revised strategy on this front from the CDL going forwards. And well, as Quote says right here, they deleted it eventually. So yeah, it took them their time, but it is finally gone. So one of the big storylines for these upcoming days, of course, are the new maps we have in the game. One of them being Express, Search and Destroy. This is a pretty classic 1 versus 2 clutch from Clayster on this map. I actually did a video not too long ago on the top 10 best Express moments from Black Ops 2. So I'll link to that at the end card of the video if you guys would like to check that out, because honestly a pretty good video, and this 1v2 is included in there. So yeah, as you see, Clayster's 1v2 clutch way back in Black Ops 2, and also as Treyarch say yesterday, Apocalypse and Express joining the map pool for this week. We've certainly had some questions, who does that benefit, who does that cost, I suppose, but as Treyarch say, Apocalypse and Express joining the map rotation in League play tomorrow, along with the start of Stage 1. So there were some questions about this at the time. How long will it take them to kind of update their League play rotation to what exactly is going on in the professional scene? And it is happening very soon indeed. But arguably more interestingly, in the replies here from Treyarch, they say the following: for those asking about weapon tuning, we have got a full tuning pass coming in our next major update. Season 2's midpoint is just around the corner. So seems like to me Treyarch are doing a major weapon tuning update very soon indeed. They pretty much say this explicitly. Now, we're not really sure what's happening in this. I saw a post on Reddit which may or may not be anything like the truth, but it seemed to imply that some of the changes were going to be, well, I'll run through some of the key ones. There was a lot going on in that post, so I don't really know if any of it's true or not, and well, take this with a grain of salt. But supposedly, just to break down a couple of the key things in different categories, in the SMGs, it reckoned a 74U accuracy nerf. So right now, obviously, it's recall. They've got rid of the muzzle brake with the intention that it's a little bit more difficult to shoot. Supposedly, they're going to be nerfing that somewhat even more. The LC10, you guys might be happy to hear, if it is indeed true, that some sort of moderate damage range nerf and also some sort of recoil nerf as well for the LC10. So maybe it won't make it quite as good in League play. In terms of the ARs, most things saying relatively the same, but the FFAR, interestingly, actually is getting a moderate recoil buff again. And we've seen some of the European amateurs especially using that to decent effect in wages and stuff lately. So if the FFAR gets a buff, that might actually be viable again, right? If its recoil is low enough to compete maybe with some of the other weapons in the game. I think there was a couple of other slight nerfs in that category as well. I think the Stoner and the M16, so some of the annoying pub weapons, are getting quite significant nerfs, so that seems like a step in the right direction to me. And then the other one, which is kind of, I read this and think, okay, is it too good to be true? Is someone just making this up? Which maybe they are, but apparently the sniper rifles are getting some increase to the flinch. And this is really what we've been talking about, right? The idea that in this game, the snipers have no flinch, and I like the fact that there's no flinch in the game on normal weapons. I think that adds to, well, it removes inconsistencies. But with snipers in the hands of a pro with aim assist, there is a bit of an issue when you can just like lock onto someone and they can shoot you 4 times with a Krig, and then you still take them out no problem at all. And that's kind of the reason why snipers aren't being used in Search and Destroy right now. So if flinch does come back into the game, as it is rumoured to be doing relatively soon, and when maybe they play on that patch update for the other half of Stage 2, and well, at least into Stage 3, then well, maybe sniper rifles actually can come back into Search and Destroy. I think that would be a major upgrade from at least my perspective, and I'm sure you guys think similarly in the comment section below. A few interesting things also to finish off the video is Parasite says, any orgs looking to pick up one of the best challengers team in COD, Hamza, Glow, Frosty, Venom, etc. on the Western official team. And well, he puts Zaptius' email right here, and this is pretty funny, as Zap says, lost full Haggy put my email, and this is what happens. Hello, Mr. Zaptius, it's Brad and Christy. I am a billionaire who wants to fund your Black Ops Cold War team. I'm willing to pay salary of 100k each. Haggy will be making 500,000 though, because that boy is amazing at Call of Duty. The org will be called Dope Energy. Let me know if you're interested. Thanks, Smooch-tastic16. So I mean, how could you pass up an offer like this? This is well, Lionman tweets out on Breaking Point yesterday, top 4 team cards of the stage. So of course, going into Stage 2 right here, we'll have to have a look at how these teams develop over time. But these are the top 4 teams: FaZe, Empire, New York, and Chicago. You can see some of the KDs right here. I mean, the Search and Destroy from FaZe is absolutely out of this world. But will it be the same this time round? Well, we will just have to see over the coming days. So this is the schedule for week 1. In a few hours time at 3 p.m. Eastern, standard time that it's been every single time so far this season. I mean, this time, hopefully, if we have no power outages in Texas, we're going to have a pretty traditional where there's no super week, and it's just going to be 4 days on the first week, then 4 days second week, 4 days third week, and then of course into the major as we had last time in Stage 1. So Thursday's matches, that is today, FaZe versus the Subliners, and then the Mutineers versus Seattle Surge. So FaZe Subliners is an interesting one. My expectation is that kind of maybe Subliners overperformed somewhat from where I'd expect them to be in Stage 1. I think FaZe are still going to be really, really good. So I think it's going to be hard for Subliners to get anything done here, but going to be interesting to see a pretty high level match and see how much Subliners can put up a fight against FaZe, because they didn't get the opportunity to play them so far this season, I believe. And then on the other side of things, you've got Mutineers versus Surge, and there's so many games this week that have massive implications implications of what these teams look like going forwards. Mutineers, of course, had a pretty rough stage 1, especially in the group play, but when it actually came to the major, they looked somewhat solid. They could have probably got through. Subliners, they actually got reverse swept by Subliners, didn't they, to go out of the tournament, unfortunately for my pick'ems at the time, because I thought Mutineers were going to make a bit of a run. Then they're playing the Surge, and I mean, Seattle just have such a hard group, obviously, this time around, but you've got to say, if Seattle lose this series, given the rest of their group is like OpTic, I mean, they're playing Dallas in just a couple of days' time here. I mean, the rest of the group is far from easy from Seattle. If Seattle lose this, and a few of these early series, right, like if Florida lose this, all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, you know, what do we do with Florida going forwards? But there's certainly a lot of these matches, I think, this week, we're going to be looking at and saying, wow, if this team loses this game, they really have to heavily consider roster changes going forwards, because a lot of these individual matchups may have significant impact. I mean, we look at the Friday games, for example. If Thieves lose to Ultra, given they've already got FaZe and Subliners in their group, I mean, that might spell a bit of a disaster for that team. And then you've got Minnesota versus Paris. If Minnesota lose to Paris, and then you look at the rest of the group of OpTic, Dallas, and the Mutineers in there in Seattle, of course, then, well, Rokkr may also, once again, be out of the top 3 in the winners' brackets, and then they've got to consider changes. So I think that there's so much that rides on these matches this week, and I'm sure the end of stage 2 is going to be chaos in terms of roster moves, because teams who haven't really been rumoured to be doing anything so far, I mean, I'm sure they're going to be thinking about it if some of these matches do not go their way. But intrigued to hear your perspective in the comment section below. Just to finish up with a nice clip from Dashy yesterday and Scrims, I believe, ready for stage 2 up against the Dallas Empire. Nice little streak here with the Krig on checkmate. Nice to see the Krig being used again, to be honest, on this map. Definitely makes for a pretty fun weapon meta at the present time. Hopefully it will stay this way into the future. Thank you for watching as always. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. If you enjoyed this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Yeah, man. Almost done. Dylan already started his. We can't tell you what these are for, but it's going to be super cool. I can't show you, can't tell you, but there's autograph. You'll know. I mean, I guess you could probably tell, but you probably can't because it's not for what you think it is. Like, you probably think that those are going to go on weapon skins. They're not. They're going on something else. You'll...
Time,
Go front. We can smoke front. Top pink Shotzzy.
I'm looking exit.
One shot.
Nice. Another one deep.
Upstairs.
One shot. I need help you.
I think left to pick up top lane. I'm playing Shotzzy dead.
In front of me.
I'm on small collar. In small collar.
This guy's small, good job. Front now.
In front of me. Yeah, front.
Watching low plane. Front hitting you.
Absolute.
I'm dead.
Nice.
Got some time, dude.
Our exit.
No, we're playing steps, bro.
Point steps.
I can get
No,
some.
no.
No time.